Hi Taurus, and welcome to your May 2023 General Tarot Forecast. This is Sky coming on to talk to you about your month ahead. Really joyfully, such a radiant spring energy we have coming in during your super empowering Taurus season. This will be a nice birthday reading for you all. Happy birthday to those of you aging up in May. It's going to be a really magical time for you all. In this reading, I will be doing, as usual, some intuitive messages followed by a week-to-week tarot forecast and an extended reading on Patreon, which will be linked below. If you guys enjoy the reading, be sure to hit the subscribe button below and come and check out the Patreon page, perhaps as a wonderful birthday gift for yourself. I post weekly forecasts over there, and you get all of these readings early, ad-free, and all the extendeds with the one membership. So come check that out if you feel called to. Okay, so intuitively for you, Taurus, in the month of May, everything is starting to freshly turn over. So cellular regeneration is happening for a lot of you right now. I feel that you're completing some kind of 7-year cycle, which means you might have an entirely new mind, body, spirit moment coming in. You might feel that your skin is different now, or your appetite is different, your metabolism is different. Congratulations, Taurus, you have completed a very long-running cycle, or you're in the process of completing it this May. The sun is in your sign, and you have 6 bodies all together, okay? So the sun, the moon, Mercury, Jupiter, Uranus, and the North Node, all in your sign this month. I talked about this in depth in my May 2023 comprehensive astrology video that I'll link below in the description box and in the top right hand corner if you want to get more insight just on what that means. But just for Taurus people, okay, it's so inspiring. It's injecting like energy from about 6 different ways. I mean, you could be having flings with like 6 different people. I'm kidding. Don't take that advice seriously. But that could be happening. Like being interested in 6 different jobs, having 6 different people in your life, having just a sort of smorgasbord of vitality, abundance, and beauty coming into your life. That's for a majority of Taurus. But then there's going to be like a smaller amount of Taurus people who are like, where is any of it? I feel that if you've been pushing really hard to make something work that just isn't authentic anymore, which is possible when the North Node is in your sign, to have like a synthetic growth or to have something that's like not really truly who you are flourishing, okay? If you've had that in your life, there will be a hollowing out or a burnout coming in this month. And the good thing about that is it's not going to be like flirtatious anymore. So it's not going to be like, I know that this isn't good for me, but it's just such a turn on, or I know that this isn't good for me, but it's just such a, exciting thing for my mind to think about what it could be in the future. All of that will start to turn off. And what will happen is you'll start to kind of get like an aftertaste, or you'll get like really the first maybe fallout or the first real result of what maybe even up to a 7-year cycle, especially if it was synthetic, what it's given you. And you're going to be able to start like comparing this to other results in your life and comparing a lot of things, really. I do feel it's a month of comparison for you. If you notice, you actually don't have any major arcana in your reading. And I think what that's indicating during your time of the year is that you've like really been pushing maybe in certain synthetic ways, or there's been things with like Uranus and the North Node in your sign that's been like, oh my gosh, I've had to filter so much energy into these other people's lives or other people's dreams or other people's world. And now what happens is you can basically get payback for that, or you can start to like sort of get dividends from that. So that which you've invested in, I mean, we can certainly use, I suppose, like traditional investment jargon to kind of describe this larger energetic experience that you're going through. It's like, I mean, you've been investing for such a long time in something. Now it's time for you to get back a little bit. And a lot of your abundance will come through reception now. I talked a lot about this in May Comprehensive Astrology. A lot of your abundance is going to come from received natural abundance rather than trying so hard, pushing so hard to get somewhere. So try to relax, try to sit in your power, and try to just enjoy the sun and enjoy the natural growth. Another thing, psychic keyword that I'm getting for you this month is fertilizer. Okay, maybe some of you are gardening. That's very supported right now. It's good for everybody of every sign, but especially earth signs, to get into the earth right now and to work with it and to help it to grow. That way you can see how growth works more in this dimensional framework. I think that a lot of people with like the social media age and the like global economy are really dialed out of the way that growth works naturally. And what that means is that a lot of people are like thinking, wow, it's these social media algorithms, it's AI, it's la la la, that's going to cause me to grow as a person or going to like feed me in the future. I don't think so. That's all like basically like mind mumbo jumbo. It's all like mental gymnastics. And a lot of people are getting really caught up in like swinging from the mental trapeze rather than like actually doing substantial things in their life. I mean, if you can imagine the sort of like account of all the hours that we're spending on these social media apps adding up to be a certain type of investment, what are we going to get back from it? Hopefully from content like mine, you're getting something back. I really try to create valuable things. And of course, it's not like a blanket statement for the entirety of social media, but what this means, Taurus, intuitively, and I feel like for your entire year ahead as well, is that you're going to have to start rebalancing, right, with that Two of Pentacles, Four of Swords, like taking time to sort of like postulate or mentally reconfigure certain investments of time, money, and energy. That's going to be a lot of what your year ahead is like, and how nice it's going to be to have things growing in your garden, okay, like seriously, like physically gardening. Or if that's not possible for you, getting into maybe botanical gardens or public spaces that have gardens, just to kind of, and like maybe revisiting these places to make things a little bit less like mental and crazy. I feel that something else needs fertilized in your life as well. Is there a barren feeling? Is there like a way that things are struggling to grow? I'm starting to understand maybe how fertilizers work. Okay, so you're really lucky again if you have a physical garden or if you have like land or something. Some type of agricultural energy is really coming in for your sign with these 6 planets in the fixed earth sign of Taurus. On the higher societal level, I think that we're going to have a lot of innovation with agriculture and maybe a big different like focus on it, rather than it sort of being like what the sort of ongoing status quo has been, where it's like high majority, like 98% of people are like, don't even think about where their food comes from or how it grows. Food is another thing coming up for you for this entire year ahead, Taurus. As I see that this beautiful Four of Wands, Ten of Cups energy is going to be highly connected to food or highly connected to nature. So if anything in your life there is struggling, like not being able to spend time in nature, not really being able to have satisfactory food, you're not alone. But I do feel that those two things, by focusing there, will give you more of that Four of Wands, Ten of Cups feeling than dating or it's almost like even like if you've been single for a long time, you can start to meet more people in those types of spaces, in like food spaces or nature spaces, compared to like the Tinder app or whatever. A big movement away from that type of stuff coming very soon, but it's not quite happening yet. Anyway, Taurus, is there anything else I want to talk to you intuitively before we get into your week to week? I love this Ace of Wands energy paired with the Four of Wands, the Four of Swords, and the Ten of Cups. Thinking about that with like the Knight of Swords as well, it's like you're taking this time to like reconfigure and rebalance with the Two of Pentacles as well. Within that space, I think that you're going to find a really powerful spark of energy with the Ace of Wands, and it's going to make you feel so victorious, and it's going to want to like, it's going to make you want to really quickly like zoom right toward your potential with the Knight of Swords. We do have to work through this Eight of Swords, Five of Pentacles feeling, though, but it's not that bad. I mean, you've got a very solid majority of positive things, but yeah, you're still maybe like in your own way mentally, and like maybe making things more like impoverished or frugal than they have to be. And I will say, like, any feelings of like frugality, watch out for frugality becoming greed. Watch out for also mental confines or philosophies or daily sort of mental practices that have you more tied up than you have to be. The Eight of Swords is like, you know, those constraints around her are not that strong and she could easily wiggle out. So I do feel that maybe some of the constraints in your life that you're perceiving may not carry the actual weight that they do. So think about that way. And again, kind of getting into this naturally receptive mode that this year ahead for you is going to really indicate should kind of start to alleviate some of those confines naturally without you even trying. But will you allow yourself to see it that way? Will you allow yourself to like maybe have all of this new income or have all of this new things growing in your garden, have all of these new relationships come in and like realize that they're there and not still get like stuck up and pretending like things are still so bad? That's really the big question. And that's where your empowerment grid is going to be for this year ahead. Let's talk about your week to week, Taurus. First week, the Four of Wands, rooted down by the Eight of Swords. I should give you guys an advertisement for my Patreon page before we get into the week to week. I've been advised to put them in the middle of the video instead of at the end of the video because a lot of people tune out by the end of the video. So check out my Patreon page. That's linked below. There will be an extended reading for you there too. Come check it out. It's a great time of the year. Okay, so the first week, Four of Wands, rooted down by the Eight of Swords. You see, things are actually good. I do feel like there's some kind of like mental sort of hyper association with past poverty or past confinement that just is maybe not like here now. So trauma, right? When we experience trauma, what happens is we recreate it, or that tone or that shade, especially if we've had a surprise trauma in the past, it will continue to sort of assert itself even when it's not like real, because we don't want to be caught off guard again, or we don't want to be caught like unprepared. So it's like preferable for a lot of people who are healing from trauma or PTSD or anything like that to basically just allow themselves to put a tone of trauma, like a rose-colored sunglasses. I guess we'll call them like Chiron-toned sunglasses, right? Trauma-toned sunglasses onto every experience so that they're just not caught off guard. You can let that guard down now. You need to kind of wriggle out of it, Taurus. You need to move on. I do feel that everybody else has moved on, okay? Scorpio is also going through this. But I feel that you're actually struggling with it more than Scorpio, because Scorpio has a little bit of an easier time with like shedding the skin. It's a little reptilian like that. Taurus is more like fixated and hard to like change and more stubborn. So even Scorpios are moving on. Taurus, y'all have got to move on now too and really accept this sort of ceremonial happiness. I think some of you are maybe getting engaged, getting married. I would just move those marriage plans along, you know, like what are you marrying in your life? What projects? What person? Great, interesting time to take a relationship to the next level and really enjoy that sort of healing process that you're going through, maybe by experiencing commitment with another person to be something that just pulls you out of that past trauma. How beautiful is that? If you're single, I think that it's a good time to maybe start dating, or it's a good time to start making new friends. I've talked about friendship and family in the year of 2023 as a really important area of growth for most people, especially if you've been very solitary. So consider in the first week of May branching out more and connecting with more people. Week 2, the Ace of Wands, rooted down by the Four of Swords. I love that combination. That's one of as a creative myself, I love that sort of combination of like being able to rest, being able to take it easy, and to think about new ideas, or to think about the way that things can grow in the future. It's one of my favorite things to do. That's where it's at for you, Taurus. New creative ideas, new creative projects, new zest for life, new life force energy. But you do need to rest, okay? There's some of you, especially if you have a lot of Scorpio in your chart, or if you're like engaged to a Scorpio or something, there's a lot of you who just like can't do it, and you've got to like really plod along. Try to still be resting appropriately with that. So if you have a big project going on in your life, kind of a Ten of Wands energy. I did see both Ten of Swords and Ten of Wands when I was shuffling for you guys. They did not come up in the reading, but both of those energies were coming up, validating that this is a major time of ending and like also like finishing a long-term project. But then they did not come up in the reading. So I could also interpret that as like maybe you're delaying an ending, or maybe you're like just not willing to be done with it yet. So you might be kind of caught between like those two sacred places, which is like, do I end this project now, or do I sort of continue this ending phase? The second week of May is good because it helps you to understand what else there is for you, and also like new ideas, new projects. The third week, you have the Five of Pentacles rooted down by the Two of Pentacles. Okay, red flag. There could be a red flag coming up there. No, it's not that bad. There is kind of like maybe a question of what you're focusing on, or a question of like not being able to do it all. Okay, so maybe seeing that like your energy was too taken. Okay, so like you didn't have enough left over for yourself before. This could have to do with that previous trauma. And then here you're like redistributing, or you're reworking, or you're like cleaning that up a little bit. So while you need to get out of the confinements represented by the Eight of Swords, you also need to reconfigure what you do and don't do with yourself anymore. So this is like personal regulation. This is like personal yes and no questions. What I don't accept anymore. What is too cold a path for me? What paths I don't have to go down. A lot of times with Five of Pentacles, I'm like, people just get a little bit foolish and they're thinking that they have to do this. You don't have to. You can just like get off that path and go into like the warm church, or just like not engage that like cold path anyway. But then sometimes people need that story, or need that like feeling, or need to basically express themselves to their like partners as like very traumatized or hard done by, or very like cold and rigid. So that becomes very barren, and that becomes very inauspicious, and that becomes like really a recipe for continued loss. So it's nice to get out of that now. Week number 4, the 10 of Pentacles. Sorry, 10 of Cups. I almost said, I think I've mentioned every 10 card that exists in the tarot. So we've talked about 10 of Wands, Swords, and now Pentacles and Cups. So that's good. 4th week, you have like maybe a family completion. There's a feeling of like, now we have a bond, or now we get to have more happiness. And then that kind of seems to inspire you to go forward. I think that it's a great energy to be ending your season on as you move into Gemini there. And I feel like it's just indicating that you've had such a good success story throughout the entire month of May. And that you still have so much more to gain, and you still have so much like traction and so much sort of vigor to move forward at a very fast pace. So yes, by the end of May, things are going to start moving very fast, okay? And you're going to maybe have an entire operation going, an entire like structure going, okay? And you're going to maybe have to be like working with a lot of moving parts, but also like maintaining what you've built so far. So anyway, Taurus, beautiful reading. I'm going to conclude it on that note. I'm going to link your extended reading where we'll get a central theme, 2 supporting themes, and a significator card, and talk more about this kind of wonderful fertile growth that you're having in your life. That'll be linked below and in the center of your screen. Have a beautiful month of May, Taurus. Bye.